Janavallabha Jaya Girivaradhari Yashodhanandana Jaya Raja Janaranjana Yashodhanandana Jaya Raja Janaranjana Jaya Yamunatiravanachari Jaya Kunja Bihari Yamunatiravanachari Jaya Kunja Bihari Jaya Radha Madhava Jaya Kunja Bihari Gopi Janavallabha Jaya Girivaradhari Gopi Janavallabha Jaya Girivaradhari Yashodhanandana Jaya Raja Janaranjana Yashodhanandana Jaya Raja Janaranjana Yamunatiravanachari Jaya Kunja Bihari Yamunatiravanachari Jaya Kunja Bihari Jaya Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Radha Gadadhar Shivasari Gaura Bhakta Vrinda Jaya Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Radha Gadadhar Shivasari Gaura Bhakta Vrinda Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Jaya Radha Madhava, Jaya Kunja Bihari. Jaya Radha Madhava, Jaya Kunja Bihari. Shri Radha Madhava ki. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Everybody speaks English here? Sorry. Bis leider. We're going to read from the Srimad Bhagavatam. Continuing. Fourth canto, part 1. We're just starting a new chapter entitled Frustration of the Sacrifice of Daksha. Yeah. Yeah, danke. So we're starting this new chapter. We're in the second verse. And we're very excited to hear what the frustration is going to be. Kruda sadushta putta sadur jatir. Kruda sudastauta putta sadur jatir. Jatam tati vani satogra rochisam. Jatam tadi vani sato grado chisam. Utkritya rudra saho soshtito sahan. Utkritya rudra saha soshtito hasan. Gambira nado visaraja tambuvi. Gambira nado visaraja tambuvi. Krudasa sudashta puttasadhur jatir. Jatam taddi vani sato grarochisam. Utkritya rudra saha so tito hasang. Gambira nado visasarja tambuvi. Krudasu dashtata putasa durjatir. Jata taddi mani sato grarochisam. Utkritya rudra saha sotito hasan. Gambira nado visarasarja tambuvi. Prabhu. Kudas. Sudashta putasa durgati. Ladies. Thank you very much. Crew, we're going to read now the word per word translation and then the translation and in the next verses. Krudaha very angry. Sudasta ut oshta putaha, pressing his lips with his teeth. Saha, he, Lord Shiva. Duhu Jajihi, having a cluster of hair on his head. Having a cluster of hair on his head. Jatam, one hair. Tadit, of electricity. Interesting, huh? To have a name, word for electricity. Vahani, of fire. Sata, a flame. Ugra, terrible. Rojisam, blazing. Utkritya, snatching. Rudra, Lord Shiva. Sahasa, at once. Uttihitaha, stood up. Hasan, laughing. Gambira, deep. Nadaha, sound. Visasarja, dashed. Tam, that hair. Bhuvi, on the ground. So, before I read the translation, I'm going to read yesterday's verse so that we understand the context. Yesterday it said, Maitreya said, when Lord Shiva heard from Narada that Sati, his wife, was now dead because of Prajapati Daksha's insult to her, and that his soldiers had been driven away by the Ribu demons, he became greatly angry. And now we see his reaction. Ribu demons. Ribu demigods. Sorry, yeah. Driven away by the Ribu demigods, he became greatly angry. Then Lord Shiva, being extremely angry, pressed his lips with his teeth and immediately snatched from his head a strand of hair, which blazed like electricity or fire. He stood up at once, laughing like a madman, and dashed the hair on the ground. What happened next? Who knows? Okay. Raise your hand. Who knows the name of the demon which came out? Yeah, Virabhadra, very good. So, we're going to hear the next verses, because here's no purport by His Divine Grace, about this amazing demon. Tato tikkayastanu vasprisham divam sahasra bahur gana ruktri suryadrik karala dangstro jvalat agni nurdaja kaphalamali vidotatsyatudyaha. A fearful black demon as high as the sky and as bright as 3 suns combined, very bright, was thereby created, his teeth very fearful, and his hairs on his head like burning fire. He had thousands of arms, equipped with various weapons, and he was garlanded with the heads of men. Very beautiful. Tam kim karomiti grinatamaha badanjalim bhagavan bhutanataha daksham sa yagyam jahimat bhatanam tvam agrani rudra patang shakome. When that gigantic demon asked with folded hands, "What shall I do, my lord?" Lord Shiva, who is known as Bhutanath, directly ordered him, "Because you are born from my body, you are the chief of all my associates. Therefore, kill Daksha and his soldiers at a sacrifice." Whoa. He's being sent off. Purport by His Divine Grace, A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada Ki Jai. Here is the beginning of a competition between Brahma Tejas and Shiva Tejas. By Brahma Tejas, Brahmanical strength, Bhrigu Muni had created the Ribu demigods, who had driven away the soldiers of Lord Shiva stationed in the arena. When Lord Shiva heard that his soldiers had been driven away, he created the tall black demon Virabhadra. to retaliate. There is sometimes a competition between the mode of goodness and the mode of ignorance. That is the way of material existence. Even when one is situated in the mode of goodness, there is every possibility that his position will be mixed with or attacked by the mode of passion or ignorance. That is the law of material nature. Although pure goodness or Shuddha Sattva is the basic principle in the spiritual world, pure manifestation of goodness is not possible in the material ground. Thus, the struggle for existence between different material qualities is always present. This quarrel between Lord Shiva and Lord Bhrigu Muni, centering around Prajapati Daksha, is the practical example of such competition between the different qualitative modes of material nature. Om Jnana Timirandasya Gyananjana Shalakaya Chakshurumalitam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha Shri Chaitanya Manovistam Stapitam Yena Bhutale Swayam Rupa Kadamayam Dadati Svapadantikam He Krishna Karuna Sindhu Dinabandhu Jagatpate Gopisha Gopika Kanta Radha Kanta Namostute Tapta Kanchana Gaurangi Radhe Vrindavaneshwari Rishabhana Sutate Vipranamami Hari Priye Manchakalpatarubhyascha Kripa Sindhu Bhaivacha Patitanam Bhavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namaha Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhara Shivasari Gaura Bhaktavinda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare Namo Vishnu Padaya Krishna Prishthaya Buddha Shrimati Karambakanda Samati Namni Namo Vishnu Padaya Krishna Prishthaya Buddha Guru Das Chaitvaita Samati Namni Namo Vishnu Padaya Krishna Prishthaya Buddha Shrimati Bhaktivedanta Samanita Namni. So we are hearing of this amazing demon created by Lord Shiva. And why did he create this demon? Because, just imagine, your wife, because she was insulted, she committed suicide. So every husband, normal husband, would be very angry at the person who insults your wife and then she may commit suicide. It's such a heavy act, and not even by just anybody. She was insulted by her father, which is very, very hurting. She was indirectly insulted because her husband, Lord Shiva, was insulted, but it also insulted her. So the situation is very complex, like in Vedic scriptures or in Mahabharata, we know all the situations are very intricate and they're all interwoven. And we don't always see where it started and where it's ended. And this is the nature of material nature, that it is not very clear. We don't see exactly what is what. Like here it said, we don't see the pure goodness in this world, Shuddha Sattva, the basic principle of the spiritual world. Because it's always intermixed. It's always little passion, little ignorance there. And Daksha himself, of course, he was also in ignorance. He created a big offense because he offended Lord Shiva. And who is Lord Shiva? Lord Shiva is Vaishnavam Yato Shambhu. He's one of the greatest Vaishnavas. And as a great Vaishnava, if you offend a Vaishnava, you get a big reaction. It's not something that you can just go by with, because a Vaishnava has dedicated his whole life for the mission and for glorifying Lord Krishna. And whoever is dear to you, if you offend that person, then you also will be very offended. And even sometimes more offended than if you get offended yourself directly, isn't it? If somebody offends your child, you're like, what is that? So we cannot estimate how ferocious or angry actually Krishna becomes when his devotees are being offended. And this is what we see in the form of Lord Narasimha. He was very ferocious. And this little Prahlad, such a sincere, nice boy. How old are you now? 11. So Prahlad Maharaj was 6, 7, or 5 years? 5 years. 5 years old. So it's even smaller than you. So if you get offended, and then they were trying to throw him down from a cliff. They were trying to boil him. Such a child abuse. They're trying to do all this heinous acts here, and the Kashyapa really tried to hurt Prahlad Maharaj, his own son. Just why? Because he was glorifying his enemy. Come on, it's like you would be fighting with your neighbor, and then your son is glorifying your neighbor, but you become so jealous that you want to kill your son. And that's kind of like Hiranyakashipu's mindset. He was so jealous. I'm the supreme. How can you glorify anybody else than me? And he was really trying to kill his son. So amazing. And then Prahlad Maharaj was not disturbed at all. He was only fixed in one object, and that was the lotus feet and the glorification of Lord Krishna, or Govinda. It is described. He was glorifying Govinda. He was his worshipful Lord, and thus he was always protecting him. Krishna was always protecting him. When he was boiling in the hot oil, he didn't feel anything. When he was thrown off the cliff, he came as Varaha and captured him, because also he rescued the earth. So Krishna, in any situation, he rescued Prahlad Maharaj. And this rescuing is a sign of love, a sign of devotion. And thus we see here, Lord Nrsingadev is actually a very caring form, a form where he's protecting his bhakta. Therefore he's called Bhakta Vatsala. He who is giving him space so that this bhakta can flourish. And so this is why we are worshipping and why we are serving Lord Nrsingadev, because he is the Lord of our hearts. He is protecting our hearts. He's giving us space to move forward and finally surrender and completely be protected by him. And here you see in this form of Prahlad Nrsingadev, he's not only protecting him, he's even putting Prahlad on his lap. That's so sweet. Just imagine, even Lakshmi, only Lakshmi, his wife, is sitting on his lap. So he actually he adopts his bhaktas as his sons. He's taking care of them. He's petting. And it's said that when Nrsingadev put Prahlad Maharaj on his lap, Nrsingadev was schnurren, was purring, yeah, because he was so happy to have Prahlad Maharaj on his lap. So let's see the sweetness of Lord Nrsingadev. Today also he's very sweet, so many flowers. So that's the sweetness of Nrsingadev. He's caring. And thus we have a completely different view from our Western mindset that God is a fearing God, that we need to fear, we need to be very much afraid of any offenses, afraid of any mistakes that we would do, else he will send us to hell for eternity. But actually Nrsingadev, or the Lord, is a very caring. It's the Supreme Lord, God, is the most caring personality that we have in our life. And that is why we are actually here. This is why we can at all function this mature world. You just imagine we are being, we're trying to forget our Father. We're trying to forget Krishna. And this is why he created this material world. Okay, you want to be separate from me, therefore please come here in this material sphere and you try it out. Try it out how it is. And I give you all facilities. He's not like, no, you must stay with me. But okay, if you want to give it a try, then give it a try. And we're all trying it out in our own ways, trying to enjoy these facilities of material nature. And all of these facilities, we are being bewildered by them. And it's like, wow, this is nice, this is nice. And all the way he's guiding us. He's like, he's Anumanta and Upatrashna and Anumanta. He's the order giver. He's he's giving you the witness and the alauba, and permitter, yeah, the permitter. He's permitting your action. Actually, the soul wants to act something, wants to do something, and he's allowing the soul to actually act. So we don't know how this body works. We don't know how our brain works. We only after centuries we're trying to figure it out. We don't know exactly how our stomach works, but it's still functioning. It's a complete system. And we just have to desire within, and then we can manifest it in this material world. So Krishna is a super soul. He's within the hearts of everybody, and he's facilitating that all of us can act in this material world, even though we might do completely stupid things. But still, just imagine, he's in the heart of all living entities because he's caring for them. He's all the time there, all the time ready to help, and but very patient. Very patient that one day, finally, the soul might turn to Krishna and finally serve and surrender. Because that's actually our nature. That's like, it's always compared like a fish and the fish is outside of water, it's not going to be happy. But if it's within the water, if it's within its nature, then it will experience happiness. So the same, the soul will not experience happiness unless and until it is in connection with the Supreme Personality of Godhead. So that is very important, that we connect ourselves, we serve the Supreme Lord. And it seems like, we should serve the Lord. It's our nature. It's like water. Water is wet. Our nature is to serve Krishna. And it's so natural for us to serve and give our devotion. And it enlivens us. Like here we say the mode of goodness. And if we're in the pure mode of goodness, that means that we are actually not just like being a gentle person, have all those good qualities that we hear of in the material world, but we dedicate our mind and devotion to the feet of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Because if we might be philanthropists, we might be good persons, taking care of others and everything, but all of this is nonsense if we're not giving our lives to Krishna or to God. No? Because what do they want? They just want to glorify themselves. I'm helping so many children, feeding them. I'm doing this, I'm doing that, What is the use of that? So we think that only mere philanthropism nowadays, it means to be spiritual. Some religious institutions, we think like if you only love your next, this is enough to go back to Godhead. But no, you need to love Krishna, you need to connect with Him. This is the essence. And then immediately you will start to connect and to devote yourself to everybody else also. If you love God, you love His children likewise. You cannot separate them. So in a similar way, we cannot separate ourselves from the Supreme Lord actually. Even if we're trying to forget Him, we will never forget Him. Because always He is within our heart. And then when there's a critical situation, naturally it's like said, there are no atheists on the battlefield. Nobody. When it's like really crucial, somebody's holding a gun at you, then you're like, Krishna, God, there's no other, because you don't have any other refuge. So sometimes in life we are put in this situation that we don't have any other refuge but to serve the Supreme Lord. And then we might think that these situations are very troublesome and very difficult. But actually those are blessings. Because they let us come to the situation where we can take the next step, where we can become heroes of our life. We can take responsibility. We can finally surrender. We can go very deep. And this is a blessing. So if any difficulties come in your life and you want to progress and you want to continue, then take the opportunity to devote yourself to Krishna, to read the scriptures, because they give you peace. The mind is then disturbed. You want, what shall I do? What shall I do here and there? I lost my job. This happened. Some anxiety in family. So many things can happen in this material world. But if you seek refuge at the scriptures and everything, and Krishna, and glorify Him, Shravanam, Kirtanam, Smaranam, Bandhanam, then the soul becomes very peaceful. And the nature of the soul is to serve Krishna. And thus it will be very happy, because it's natural for the soul to worship the Lord. So whenever there's a situation where we can be in goodness, goodness means to serve, like here, we're hearing the pure. Although pure goodness, or Shuddha Sattva, is the basic principle of the spiritual world, pure goodness is not possible in this material world. So we are trying as much as possible to connect to the Supreme and devote ourselves. But within this material world, it is very difficult to be completely aloof from everything. Only a pure devotee who's completely surrendered to Krishna, he can devote everything. And he's not holding back. He's very much focused. And when he's focused like that and he's complete, there's no other desires. He said that he's actually not living within this material world, because there's no connection. He's decoupled from this material world. He's not anymore within this material world. Even though he's physically here, spiritually seen, he's not connected. He's not creating any karma. He's not entangling himself anymore in this material world. Thus it is said, even though a devotee is living within this world, he's not living within this world. He's completely aloof from that. Not meaning that, if you kick him or beat him, that he will be not hurt. Of course, he has a physical body, but he's not creating any karma. He's not being bound within the cycles of this material world, of passion and ignorance and goodness. So we should not be diverted or misguided by all these different modes of goodness, but we should have one goal, and this one goal is to surrender to Krishna. Because this will bring us to the mode of goodness, which we are hearing here, that the demon which was created, it was created in, Shiva was very, very angry. He's known to be very easily satisfied, but very easily angered. And thus, we understand that Shiva is in this situation, because even though he's the greatest devotee, one could say he's the personification of ignorance. So he, in this moment, he's very much angry. Passion, ignorance, maybe mixed, but he's completely still aloof. He's Vaishnavam Yatha Shambhu. He's a great Vaishnava. Even though he's acting like this, afterwards he's completely peaceful. Shiva is above everything. And then, so he creates this great demon, and this is the personification of all this anger, this wrath, this big Virabhadra is coming, and he wants to kill Daksha. So it's very ferocious. And then we have the Ribu demons, which were created by Bhrigu, yeah. And Bhrigu is just amazing. Also by his mystical powers, he just could create a whole army. And then, of course, when Virabhadra came, he destroyed them all, because Shiva's power is much more powerful. So, and then we will see how the story ends, because in the end, Shiva is so forgiving, because he's very easily satisfied, that he in the end revives Daksha. Even though Daksha was being killed, he revives him again. So this is you can see the elevation of Shiva. He's not like, I killed you and now I will never forgive. But this is a quality that we need to learn, that even if somebody offends us, or if there's something in our life that's just hurting us, we should learn to forgive. What is the use to hold on to that? We will not be elevated by that grudge. This grudge or this feelings we are holding deep in our hearts, they will not elevate us. So anything within this material world which is not connected to Krishna, to serving Him, to dedicating our lives to Him, it will not bring us much, much further. We will just be more and more entangled. So let's not waste this lifetime and be entangled in so many material things, but let's use this opportunity to surrender to the Supreme Personality of Godhead, to worship Him. It's so easy. We just sit here. It's so beautiful when you come here to the temple. We chant mantras, we sing Hare Krishna, we do kirtan, we make offerings to the Lord, we dress Him beautiful. And like this, the whole senses and the mind of the devotee can be focused on the Lord. It's very easy. It's not like very philosophical. We need to study every Sanskrit word, and then what does that mean, this mean. Of course, if you have that scholarly mindset, then it's a lot of fun, You analyze the verse like, wow, akyapta, being ordered. What does it exactly mean? There are many different meanings. In Sanskrit you can read the words in many different ways. So you can really go into it. And that's amazing also, because you see the beauty of the Sanskrit verses. But you can also use your mind just to worship the Lord by making a flower garland. There are many great alvars in South India, we hear, who was always making these garlands. What's her name? I forgot. She was always making garlands for the Lord, and then she... Andal, yeah, Andal. And then she went into the Lord. So that's an amazing story. So just like her focus was only to make garlands for the Lord, and that was her only desire. So this is what we should be like. We should just make something for the Lord. Even like most of us are householders, myself too, and we do a little service at home, once in a while, not once in a while, but every day, a little bit, and a little bit more, the better. But you do a little bit in the morning or in the evening, and we do this little service to our deities, and this is really protecting us from those modes of material nature that we are doing the whole day. You're working, you're doing this, you're doing that. But this little service is keeping you alive, and actually you're living only on that service. Because everything else is like just random, it just comes, and the machinery of this material world is going to work somehow or other. But this little seva we do, this can rescue our whole life. It can change our whole life. Even if you're in school, you do a little bit, you do a little puja, you make a little garland, you make a paint, you can paint the deities, or you can do so many other sevas for the Lord. or just sing, chant the mantras with the family before you go to school, and this can change your life, because even it is said that people who they were investigating a gurukul where they were chanting mantras, and they could see that their development of their brain because of chanting this, just the sound vibration of the Sanskrit mantras, are so powerful that they develop a lot, their awareness has developed a lot, and they're very focused. So if we chant mantras, if we devote ourselves to Krishna and engage in devotional service, even at home, every day a little bit, it can change our life. So we should take this amazing book, Srimad Bhagavatam, Bhagavad Gita, read a little bit inside, one chapter a day, or one verse, at least one verse a day. Everybody can do one verse. This is like a verse translation and a purport, and that's at least something. Before you go to sleep, then you can remember the glories of the Lord. You can engage your mind in the service of the Lord, or you, as I said, you have a deities. That's very nice, because you can also cook. Anybody needs to cook, so why don't you cook for the Lord? You have a deity at home, you worship a deity, a murti of Krishna, Narasimha. You worship at home, and you offer a little bit of food. So you offer something very nice to him. And then your food becomes prasad, and you don't eat any more material nature, but you're eating prasad, mercy of the Lord. So we should engage our lives to be set in the mode of goodness. We should not waste and be like, there's so many things, we can be distracted by, I want to have this, I want to work for this and that, but what is the use of all of that, If you have a little bit of devotion, a little bit of seva at home, that will really satisfy you. And not only that, you actually satisfy the Supreme Personality of Godhead, and that is the main thing, not that only you are happy. It's like, I'm worshipping God, but I'm not feeling anything, so I don't do it anymore. Come on, is it for you or is it for God? Is it for Krishna? Whom are you serving? That is the question. Because sometimes we do spirituality only to please ourselves. And then it becomes very superficial, And then many religions are like, it's not legit, I don't feel anything, there's nothing there. Why? Because the prerequisite already, it's not really, the foundation is not really there. You have the wrong mindset to approach it. So devotion service is always a little sacrifice in the beginning. To start is like, okay, let's do the puja today. Even though it's like very late or very early in the morning, I wake up and do the puja. Then still in the end, the soul is very satisfied, because actually you're serving Krishna a little bit, and that's very amazing. So the more you put Krishna in your life, the more glorious it will become, and the less you put him in, the less. Because in the material world, things always will change. You will be great, do less, be great, and then again this comes, then this comes. So, but if you have Krishna in your life, then whatever you have, you always will be happy. Because we see in the Indian villages, you can live very simple and be very happy. There's a survey, who are the happiest people in the world? And it's those in Bangladesh, they're most happy, according to the survey. And they're one of the poorest countries in the whole world. It was not America, it was not Switzerland, it was not Germany, where we have quite some material amenities. It doesn't make you happy, The more you have, the more unhappy you become, actually. Yes? No, it was meant. Bhutan also. But Bangladesh actually. Bhutan is said to be also the happiest country, because they have, they're CO2 positive, and they have a whole culture of being happy. This is also true. Maybe my report was old, the new one is Bhutan. But the proof is, what I want to point out, that it's not depending on material amenities. And we really sometimes, we're just like, okay, I want to have as a grihasta, you want to have a house, you want to have a good income, you want to have a car, and we're so entangled by all these things that it's like, come on, what is all of that? It won't give you any basis. But if you have Krishna, you might live in a big mansion, or you want to live in a little hut. It doesn't matter in the end. Your family, those which really matter for you, is your, like materially seen, it's your family, that they're happy, and that you can serve Krishna. But of course, if you always serve Krishna, then things will come, things will manifest. And so we should really focus on that, and therefore we should keep our spiritual life, which we do every day in our home, very focused. I'm very dedicated, a little bit, puja, reading, it will change your life. I promise. Chant one chapter of Bhagavad Gita, read the translation. Not only chant, we should know what it means. So it's important that we read the translation and then the purport. You can also just chant it in English so that you know what you're chanting, or do both. Some do different ways, but do some little sadhana at home, and this will change your life. And it's very nice, it doesn't require much, it doesn't cost anything. Prabhupada said it doesn't cost anything, just take it, why? It's not expensive. And it can change our life. So that's actually very important for all of us, that we are not distracted by so many other things. Especially in school, sometimes we think like, oh, they have this, they have that, we have so many desires, but little service, little sadhana is very nice. Yeah. We also did it in school, it was fun. Before I went to school, I always used to chant Hare Krishna, a few rounds, and it was so much fun going to school. Because else you're like, another day of school, but then you're more receptive to understand. And anyway, the whole life is more receptive if you actually put Krishna in the center. It makes you happy. Hare Krishna. Thank you. Are there any questions or comments? Or complaints? Concerns? Sanjay. Das heißt, du sollst warten. Das ist ganz laut.
Das macht es trotzdem.
Hare.
Gleich, jetzt. Jetzt geht's.
Hare Krishna. Hare Krishna. Yeah. English, right?
Ja, kannst du in Deutsch sagen.
Yes. In the end, you reminded me that I had this realization. Recently, I was in Linz with Vedasara, and somehow we went for a walk in a park, and then on the other side of that park were all the villas. How you call the
mansions?
Mansions, beautiful houses, big houses, and I was thinking, as I was looking at this for a moment, that it must be very beautiful to live in there. But then next moment, I was thinking, what would I do in there? I would worship Krishna. So actually, if I can worship Krishna, I don't care how the house looks like. So you just reminded me of that. How it doesn't matter where we go. Actually, if there's worship of Krishna, it's good. If there's no worship of Krishna, it's useless.
Yeah, it's amazing. It's like our mindset, the material mindset, is like, if you have success, what does success mean? We correlate success with something very opulent, material opulence, like already the word opulence, we're already associating with big house, financial income, amenities, this and that. But no, what is the real success is that you are serving Krishna, that you are satisfied within. That is real success, come on. Yeah, because like sometimes for you, if you have something that you really, really, really want, and then you get it, and once you get it, you feel like empty. It's like, okay, that's it. I thought it was nicer to have it, just the anticipation when you have the. Usually you imagine like, I will have something and then I will feel like that. It's like, I will feel so great, to have this and this device. Nowadays it's all about technical devices, this and this laptop. So I'm gonna have it one day, and then it's like so amazing. And then once you have it, it's like, it's just a laptop, So in this material world, we want to have a very, very nice house. We want to have a very nice this. But it's not satisfying you. But the main thing is that we are correlating success and happiness with these material things. But it's actually not. No, we are running away from happiness. The real happiness is to serve Krishna. And this is really satisfying yourself. After a nice kirtan, after even just listening to a lecture, you feel satisfied, isn't it? It feels like you have eaten a good meal through the ears. And so this is the glories of the Bhagavatam, Shravanam, Kirtanam. You feel very satisfied just hearing about the Supreme Personality of Godhead, glorifying Him, honoring His prasadam. Afterwards when you go home from this temple visit, you feel enlivened. You feel like, wow, that was amazing. So you don't need only to visit the temple to feel like that. You can also do it at home. Establish your little temple, worship Krishna a little bit, put Him there, put Him in the center of your life. The more you put Him in the center of your life, sometimes you come to Grihasthas' homes and they're like, oh, very nice everything, and then there's a big television, the big guru, big side, the bigger the better, and then a little on the altar, there's a little on the side, it's just, where's the altar? You need to look for it. Put Him in the middle, put the television somewhere else. But put Krishna in the middle. That's very important. It will change the whole family atmosphere. And it will sanctify your home. And this is happiness, not that you have something big and great. And you can see in Indian villages, the people are living very simple, but they don't need anything. Why? It's like, why do we need all of that? We have all of this and this and this. It's like you have a phone, you need a charger, you need a cable, you need electricity, you need, okay, from where does electricity come? You need a home, there's a whole package which comes around it, and so many things which we want to have. And that's what Prabhupada also said, that we should live simple. And the simpler we live, the easier it's actually to be also spiritual. Therefore, he established also farm communities like we have here. You might wonder why we're not close to Munich or to a bigger city. It's because Prabhupada had this vision that we should live a simple life, and the simpler we live, the easier it is actually to serve the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Yes.
I think that is why it is said that we are the only species who has to pay the bills to live in this planet.
Yeah. Okay, I repeat again. Mataji said, we are the only species which needs to pay the bills to live on this planet. So yeah, it's amazing, we need to pay this, and then we need to work so much to pay the bills, and then we pay the bills, and then we need to work harder to again pay the bills, and it's a whole circle in itself. But even though everything is available, if we are willing to live simple, simple farmer, and I also see here our neighbors. They're so actually, what they do the whole day, they take care of the cows, they go in the fields, and they can be very happy. They always look very satisfied. What are you doing? Yeah, I'm doing this grass, I'm doing that. Just the energy is completely different than being in the cloud. Nowadays we do everything, software engineering and then cloud engineering and then this architecting and this everything. But it's but just to be on the ground and have this connection it's already very simple. But the main thing is we don't need to all move now to the fields, but we should put our priorities right. We should put our priorities right, put Krishna in the middle of our house, and put the television to the other side. Yeah, yeah, but it should.
I have a question.
Yes.
It's about Krishna. So what do you think when you think of Krishna, or when you do the mantra? Is it like meditating, or do you really think of love or like characteristics?
Very good question. Thank you very much. So this is a good question, and it is that personally, when I chant or when I like to sing for the Lord, when I do that, then I try to feel Krishna. Krishna is a person. It's like you have a relationship with him throughout the years. Krishna is not only an energy or the good thing there, it's a person. And for me, there's a relationship with it. And it's like, I just like, please accept this song. Like you're singing for somebody you love. It's so emotional. Nowadays, most songs you hear in the radio, you turn it on, it's like some love song. Nowadays, as you have raps, they're more dark and frustrating. Never liked those songs, but anyways, they also exist. But actually, if you're singing the mantras, you should have this connection with the Lord, because everybody has a connection. You cannot deny it. Everybody has a connection with the Supreme Lord within his heart. He's there. He's guiding our lives. People call it intuition. People call it many things. Like all the scientists, whenever you have, or yourself, you discover something, you have this aha effect. It came to me. And so I realized it. So let's understand, it's Krishna within giving us this understanding. It is like that. Okay, I understand now. This whole puzzle goes together. So knowledge and remembrance, forgetfulness, all comes from the Supreme Lord. But yeah, back to the question again. We are together. We are with the Supreme Lord together in our heart. And then when you're singing, expressing your devotion, then you're just expressing your love, your gratefulness, your dedication to him. It's like that's what I want to be for you. That's your lovable relationship. So this is what I'm meditating when I'm singing, when I'm worshiping the Lord.
Thank you. And also, so you put intention in it, and also ask questions.
Also, sometimes it's interesting while singing, some spiritual questions or things about my life, what I should do next, also become very clear, because I just see, okay, this is what I should do. But this is a side effect. We shouldn't just sing to answer questions. We should glorify the Lord to really glorify him. And many things just might become clear, because if you're stuck within, like usually, if you're stuck within one topic and you try to solve it, you cannot solve it. Sometimes you just need to let go of it, and then you can get a bigger picture of it. So if you just sing, and then personally I don't have any intention to, I want to gain this, I want to have that, but my main intention is, Krishna, please accept the singing of mine. Please, this is my expressive devotion, and this is all what I have. What else can I give you? You have anyway everything. You have the whole world, all the energies, everything is yours. But what I can give you is my heart, my devotion, and please accept it. And then I meditate on different ways. Like for me, when I'm singing, it's like I'm painting the flowers of devotion, like this and like that, and it's like becomes a whole experience. So singing or bhajan devotion, it should be like that. Therefore it said, in this age of Kali, the most important method of worshipping the Lord is kirtanam. Means to sing for the Lord. Singing is so powerful. Don't underestimate it. If you sing in the right way or chant in the right way, it can change your life. And this is very important, that we chant the holy names of the Lord. We sing them with devotion, and it just transports you to another world. Yeah. Balaram Pran.
I really think the word intention is a key word. It's so important because it doesn't mean necessarily like one may have a selfish motive, but ideally speaking, in the Vedic culture, before chanting each mantra, they were putting an intention.
Yeah.
Like before even putting any offering in the yajna or before chanting mantras. And in our case, we should also try to implement this before chanting Hare Krishna. And the intention is usually sankalpa. Yeah, the intention is usually in the yajna, idam narashinghaya, idam naramama. So it's for the pleasure of the Supreme, not for me. But often we may chant actually mantra with no intention, because okay, now it's the time to chant mantra. The clock is 5:15 or it's kirtan time, whatever. Then I chant. But when we put an intention consciously, when we do it consciously, then yeah, like you said, it becomes an experience.
Thank you. Very good point. Yeah. So an intention is very important, how you do it. And your intentions might be not clear. And sometimes mostly it's just ignorance. We're not very much aware of why we're chanting. Like we're just doing it out of ritual. But the better the intention is, the clearer it is, the more powerful it will become, the whole kirtan experience. You just need to let yourself dive into it. Emotionally also, just let go of everything else, and just like Krishna. Like really put everything into it when you chant. Put all your energies, like you see in the kirtans, and they're just meditate, and Krishna, I want to give you my devotion. And why do we need to hold back? So this intention is very important. Polish your intentions. Why are you doing things? Meditate. Because usually we're just in the passion of material world. We're doing things, not really knowing why we're doing things. So if we are a little conscious of our intentions, we can go forward much more easy. And especially then if you chant mantras. Yeah. Any more questions? Comments? Yes?
I want to share my view, like why do I chant mantra?
Yeah.
So basically I chant mantra to make a thread between me and the Supreme God. And my intention is that this thread should pull me towards Him. And honestly, money is a part of my life. I like it because it gives me some kind of pleasure in there.
You can use it to worship the Lord.
And so the difference between me and a thief is that he ends up in a jail. And I want this thread to have the peace that I should not end up like somebody else. To have a fair money with my hard work, but also a peace in my heart. So this is my intention, to chant mantra.
Okay, interesting. Thank you very much. Yeah, there are different kinds of motives, and if you're honest, it's very important that also we are honest. I can also say, I just want to serve you, the Lord. But of course, there are little traces of that. We want to have also some physical amenities, and it is like that. We want to have a nice house, we want to have a nice living. We don't want to starve, but I think it's important that we understand I have these, to accept them, I have these impurities within my heart, but I need them also in another way, but that I don't put them down priority. It's not the essence or my connection to the Supreme Lord. It's not I'm trading devotion for this. When I approach the Supreme Lord, okay, I have these things, I have these desires, which are good. For your family, you need to have it. But still, your devotion with the Supreme Lord, they say, this thread is pulling, this you can focus on. If you focus mainly on this thread of pulling the Supreme Lord to your heart, or yourself pulling towards the Supreme Lord, then it becomes very pure and very powerful. So, but it's very important that we also accept we are not completely pure and see also there's other traces around it. And we can get slowly and little by little, like the big saints, we can at least pray that one day, please Krishna, let me just surrender to you completely. One day, let me just yeah. Because that is in the end the beauty, and everybody of you know it. All of us know it actually. No, this is actually the right thing to do. But still we're still holding on. Yeah, thank you very much, Mulataji. Very nice point. Very good to enliven ourselves and be self-conscious. Because if we only deny our other desires, we will not be honestly able to surrender. So we need to accept them, but categorize them, and then keep our devotion to the Supreme Lord pure, more and more. Wash it, wash our intentions, and then we'll become very, very advanced. And we won't be touched by this material world. It's like goodness is like oil and water. If you're in the mode, if the energy of goodness means that you're connected with the Supreme, that you have all these good qualities of patience, love, tolerance, forgetfulness, and all these qualities, then you will be like a drop of water, a drop of oil in water, which is within this material world, but you will not be touched by it. You won't be influenced by it. Thank you very much for your attention. Srimad Bhagavatam ki jai. Srila Prabhupada ki jai. Gour Premanande.
Go Mohan Prabhu ki jai.